Hello and welcome everybody, and I want to welcome everybody back to the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N podcast. I'm here and I have, I guess, an oldie but a goodie, man. One of the more popular guests that I bring on to my podcast, of my lady, Ms.Ily. Ms.Ily, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
What's up? Good evening. I'm so happy to be here tonight. Been
Every
too
time I bring you
long.
on, I always get somebody will always comment, "Oh, she's so fun. Oh, she's." They like the wit. They like the way you snap back. I always get a lot of compliments when you come on. So it's
Oh,
always good to have you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to have you for another episode. Today we're gonna do something a little different. You know, as you know, I'm your host, Mr. Dropping Dimes, aka the Hopeful Romantic, aka the Feminist with Chauvinist Tendencies, and this is the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N podcast. And we're here today with Ms.Ily to bounce a couple of things back and forth. We're going to be going over some questions. Hopefully opening up some dialogue, through some honest conversation where instead of holding back, I find that a lot of times when people are having conversations about relationships, about sex, about whatever it is, a lot of times if the guy has alternate intentions, he censors himself or he shapes the conversation so that the woman looks at him in a certain light. I don't know if women do that, but I know men do that.
we all
And
do
I'm always,
that.
huh?
Yes. So we
Yeah,
all do that.
right. And I'm always glad to have Miss Ilion because between us, we have a friendship so we can open up and just talk to each other raw and just give it to each other and understand that, that other perspective in a clearer manner, as opposed to having that fog that kind of often hinders the open communication. So we just want to play a game, and it's basically question for question. You know, I'm really hoping that uh, people join in and let us know. Join in on some questions, man, and let us know what you think and what your opinion is. I'm more than open to that and to answer your questions in the comment box as well. So this is what we'll do. We're gonna go question for question, and then I'm gonna close out with a what do you call it of the day? A message from my inbox that I think people will really gravitate to and like. Okay, so Miss Illy, you want to start it off? Let's start it off
Let's
with
start
you.
it off. You don't want to start off. It's your show.
All right, I'll start it off. You know what? You're right. I'll start it off. Okay. I often wonder, why is it that women will sleep with a guy that doesn't mean anything to them, and it's just to pass the time, but will often make a guy that they really like or that they're interested in developing a relationship wait for you to get physical for sex. Why do women do that? I'm gonna give you like the full scope of the question. As a man, when I find out right that you've been fucking around with some dude, and then I meet you, and you're putting up all these hurdles and all these obstacles and shit, and I'm like, hey, I don't get I don't give the reaction that a woman's expecting. Like she thinks, well, you give me what she thinks, and then I'll tell you what I think from it. So why do women do
It
that?
was twofold, right? So I think when we're younger and a little more naive, there is a part of you that's thinking that purity mindset. Like, okay, if I keep myself pure and I try to act like whatever, he's going to, think I'm, I don't know, some angel or whatever. But I think that as we get older, you kind of realize, like, most of us understand that you probably, what I mean, doing something with somebody when you meet somebody. So there's not that. I don't think older women have that as much. But the second half of it, too, is now I don't want to catch feelings, because it's one thing to get involved with somebody that I'm not really feeling. I can do whatever and, what I mean, get your rocks off and go on about your business. But if I really like you, and then I start doing things too soon, it's just going to mess up everything. It convolutes the water. It just makes things murky and hard to decipher. Sex muddles a situation. I mean, we all know that, right? Like it makes it hard to really use your discernment properly. And I think for women that just goes out the window. So a lot of times I would say at this older age, if you find a woman doing that, that's why. If her logic at, late 30s, early 40s is to pretend that she's chaste, I think she's silly and playing.
All right, I'll tell you why I asked that question. I asked that question because I've been that guy that one really likes. And I'll know, like, let's say she had dealt with somebody, before me because it was whatever. And I'm like, I almost take it as a punishment. I know it's not like that. I know now that you're saying that that's not what it is. But I have to look at her and I'm like, I'm being punished. Like, what is this? Like, and then in my lesser secure days, I would get really insecure about it. Like, yo, that's not like, yo, he's getting. See, I've always said that men, we are very territorial over a woman's body, and it just seems to me that women are more territorial over our emotions. So right then and there, when I find that you gave your body to somebody else, it means more to me. It's like, hey, like, nah, what do you know? Like, what about me? What happened? This is not cool. Like, you're not, you know what I
But
mean?
then how do you know? Like,
What do you mean? Well,
like
usually women, I mean, usually women are pretty open. Like when they hit you with like, no, I was just no. They from what I found, they never tell you. I was just fucking around. Very rarely does a woman will come out and be like, yeah, I've just been fucking around. She'll come out and say something like, I haven't. She'll always tell you, I haven't been in a serious relationship since. So then you got to kind of like do a little digging and be like, well, that shit in between counts. You know what I mean? Like, what about in between?
it
Oh,
doesn't.
like, oh, I just been dating. Oh, you just been getting your back blown out. That's all. Okay, cool, got it. You know what I mean? Like, let's stop with the sugar coating. Oh, I just been dating. I was
It
seeing
could
some guy.
genuinely be dating, but you can't assume.
No, come
You
on.
can't assume.
Are we gonna do this? Are we really gonna do this?
You can't. Well, yes, because I know women that have gone months and years without it. So I'm serious. Like, you can't assume. And even if, like, do you know how long it's been?
No, what I'm saying is that's how you kind of get to the information because you start to talk and then she hits you with I was dating and you're like, oh, okay, so you weren't alone, so you're mad, and then you there's your ways to get to whether it was physical or not, or usually and then all of a sudden it's like, well, damn, like that. I don't know. I always take it as a punishment personally.
And okay, now question: what is waiting? Like, she made you wait a week or two, and now you mad because a boy was getting it a couple weeks ago, or is it months?
I'm gonna go closer to like a month, 2 months. Like, yo, like, what's up? Like, what happened here? Like, and it's never there's never like a clear explanation. That's the thing. She'll do stuff like, oh, like she'll explain to you how like she's so hot and I was just so, oh, but I can't. Oh my god. And you're like, what? Like what? Like, with me, it's more like go with the flow. How are you feeling? You're in, you're in. Don't hold yourself back. And then you find people like trying to hold themselves back. And you're like, no, like I'm one of the good guys. Why are you doing that to me? You should have done that to old fucking no job over there.
She
That's what you
might
should
have.
have.
She might have, and then he wore her down. That happens.
Maybe I think you're giving people too much credit, man. I know you have. I know you talk to enough people. You're like, yeah, she was fucking around with that guy with no job, baby mama drama, was locked up a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? Might have a habit with no problem. All of a sudden, she meets homeboy with the job, nice looking, takes care of his shit, on point. Da
But
da
a lot
da.
of that too is a trauma response too, because right, like, so okay, I've been dating, whether it was one long relationship or multiple failed relationships. You start to like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing? What I'm wrong? And obviously, sex is always going to be a common denominator in most people's relationships. So it's like, all right, well, maybe if I don't do that too soon, maybe I can take my time. Again, I can get to know this person. My thoughts are not going to be all muddled and confused. I can really get to know them without that,
Mm.
using me. And so it's unfortunate, but it's an unfortunate side effect. It's like of trial and error. And so am I a bad person because I've learned my lesson now and I want to do things the right way?
No, not necessarily that, but it's like I just as a man, I look at it backwards. Like as a man, for instance, right? I look at it. When a woman doesn't mean anything to me, she gets nothing from me. When she means something to me, she gets everything right away. Like she starts to get everything right away because I know it's like this instinct that you know what I mean. And it feel like women do the opposite. It's like when you mean nothing, you get everything. Well, what we consider everything, not what a woman consider. What we consider everything. When I don't care about you, you get everything. When I do care about you, you gotta wait to get you. You know,
You
you can check.
still get it. You just yeah, you gotta wait, and it'll be even better because I'll be like,
It'll be that's
sure.
yeah, that's what you think, and then I'm like, okay, whatever.
Wah, wah, wah.
All right, you're
Well,
up.
this
Next
brings me
question.
to my question, which wasn't even on my list, but then how long would you wait for a woman that you felt was worth it? Like, I really like this chick. She bullshitting, but
I always the advice that I give is you got to give me a verbal timeline, right? Meaning, if okay, there's two scenarios. The first scenario one is you leave me in limbo, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get it because
right.
you're not talking sexy, you're not talking nothing. You're very cut and dry with me, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get it. Actually, there's three. The second one is you're talking like I'm never going to get it, right? And then there's the third one where you're talking me through it, and from the day one, you're like, yo, if you just act right, oh, and you flirt with me, and you let me know, like, Bobby, you know, you're there, you're doing everything right, and you're coaching me through the steps and letting me know that, yo, you know, there's a process that you're going through
Right. Some
physically, but yo,
reward.
if I put in the work, you're gonna get rewarded, and you're gonna reward the hell out of you, and you're there, you're doing everything right, and as long as I found that those are the three scenarios. The second scenario where it's like, yo, I'm not, am I gonna like this chick's acting real weird. She says she like me, her actions don't match her work. I'm not doing this. What am I, 12? What am I, 15 years old? I'm not doing that. What do you call it? The other one where I'm never gonna get it. Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you. It was a pleasure. What am I doing here? Like there's no scenario in which I want to be your friend. Right? I'm not here to be your buddy. I'm not here to shake your hand, hang out with you, watch a movie. My intention was to get together, hook up, be possible relationship, all that, including the best friend. If you want to eliminate the other part of it, then no, I'm not interested in being here. I want to know, like anybody who works, wants to know they're going to get paid. Any man who works wants to know he's going to get paid. You're not working for free, and that's how I live my life that way. Like when I'm with a woman, I want to know that my hard work, the effort that I'm putting into her, is going to pay off.
So
Does it have?
here's the
That?
thing with that, right? And so, like, to some degree, I get that. But then, like, my enlightened self wants to be like, why does it always have to be about that, right? You could see a woman, you might be attracted to her, you get her phone number, you guys are talking. Maybe along the course of getting to know one another and conversation, you realize, you know what? Maybe it's not a romantic compatibility, but this is a dope chick. We could be friends, we could be acquaintances, we could be business associates, whatever. Like, why? Is it because you're not getting what you initially wanted? Is it just
No, no,
cut
no,
off? Because
no,
you're not
no,
the
no.
first guy I've heard say that.
That's not. No, 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 no. I think I might have misspoke then because that's not what I was getting on. As a man, I compartmentalize. Okay, I
Right.
have
Tell me
my
about your
relationship
compartment.
box. I have my relationship box. I have my friend box. I have my sister friend box, and then I have my whatever. Right. So this is how it works. Your relationship box is somebody who brings you peace. There's an option there. You could develop something with them, whatever. Then there's the friend box, but there's two friend boxes. There's the friend box where she slips, we fucking, and then there's the friend box of yo sis, get away from me. You're my sister. Like you look like my sister. You remind me of that same energy. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. You know what I mean? So now I meet a woman and she's sliding me into the friend zone. If you're sliding me into the friend zone, it doesn't mean sex is off the table for me. It means it's off the table for you. If I put you in the friend zone, then sex is off the table. You know what I mean? Now, it's not inconceivable to meet somebody and say to yourself, "All right, cool. There's no compatibility, sexual compatibility, so we're just going to be friends." That that happens organically. You don't have to like. There is no complaint from a man from a chick that he's not attracted to. If I'm not attracted to you, I'm not complaining about how we're not having sex. I'm just not attracted
But
to you.
what if you are? So that's what I'm saying. What if you are? So
Then
like
you're friends with the false
that
pretenses.
friend category where like if you slip, I'm falling in.
Then you're not really her friend. You're friends under the false pretenses. You're full of shit. You are. She put you there, and you have every intention to sleep with her if she fucks around and gives you
But
a
how
shot.
long does that last? So like say you meet a friend.
Oh no, I know, guys. See, again, it's all about the compartment where I put you. If I put you
So
in
10 years later, you still
10
like,
years,
as
listen,
soon as she sleep,
I know, listen, I could tell you this. I got girlfriends, right, from fucking years ago that I'm like, yo, and you actually know my sister friends. So I have sister friends that they have the same energy as my sister. And I'm like, I couldn't even look at them like that. It's weird. And then I have friends where it's like 5 years later, 10 years later, say the word, like, yo, it ain't never been that. It's always been in this space. You say the word, we having fun tonight. It's all good. You know what I mean? I don't know. No. If a woman puts me in the friend zone, it's different energy than if I also mutually put her in. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, those are the boxes. And here's the thing: a woman could talk herself out of a relationship box, but she cannot talk herself into it. You know what I mean? So if I put you in that sister friendship box, it's not like I always. It's at least it's very rare that you can grab that person and shift them into the other box.
but then along that line, if I can talk myself out of the relationship box, right? That means you meet me, you're attracted, we're talking, I say something that makes you be like, I don't know if I can fuck with her like that. But you know what? She's really cool. I can still fuck with her. Like, let's be friends. Is there still
Once
gonna
again,
always be that underlying?
once again, just to be clear, yes, we could be friends. Oh, yo, you know what? It did. Okay, I'll give you an example. Fuck it, I'll throw myself under the bus. I've made friends with women that I met on like dating online.
Mhm.
Okay, and I realized I was like, yeah, you know what? They were cool, man. You know, it's a cool date. Like, but nah, this is more of a friend thing, and we became super cool
That's what I'm
over
saying.
time, super cool. And it was just like that's the homie, and whatever. And then there was that time where we was having some wine,
Right.
and she gave me that look. I gave her the look. We had been complaining about exes the whole night, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Now that's just how it goes. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but yeah, a guy will convince you. No,
But you still didn't
like I
answer
said,
my initial question though. How long would you wait? So I'm giving you the energy that like you keep on playing your cards right, it's gonna go down. How long would you wait as a man?
okay, okay. So I don't mean to be an idiot, but what do we mean by wait? Are we talking about still foreplaying, making out, messing, touching here, a little licky licky kind of stuff, or is it nothing?
Nothing below the belt.
Yeah, act like an adult for once. We out of here. It's been real. It's been fun. Yeah, thanks. You
But like
think
what, after a
I'm
week?
not 16? I'm not walking around with blue balls.
But what's the
Not
time
happening.
frame? You're not telling me a time frame. So like I gotta bust it open on the first date or
No,
like
no, no,
what
no,
are
no.
you
Okay,
saying?
okay, okay. You're right. You're right. At this age, we're talking. I want to say about, let's say, a date a week. Like if you're going slow, date a week. I want to say about after the third date, maybe for a date. Like, yo, what's up? Third date. I'm gonna say third date. A little. It doesn't necessarily have to be sex, but it has to be something more, a little more contact than usual. You know what I'm saying? It has to be now. Like now, yo, I'm kind of letting you in now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just no. It's no. I feel like after the third date, you're just there for a free meal.
What
Like,
if those 3 dates happen in the same week? What if we are feeling each other and we just happen to link up? Not necessarily a date where we're going to full dinner, but we go out together 3 times in 1 week.
okay, no, you see, I think time over dates. So like 3 weeks would be,
So
you know
about
what I'm
the
saying? Like
year.
there comes a point where those two
Within
mesh.
the 30 days,
There comes a time
you
where
gotta
those
drop
two
them.
mesh. You know what I'm saying? Like where they mesh, where like the amount of dates kind of starts to supersede that 3 or 4 week. Let's say over a 3 week period, we've hung out 10 times. Yo, by like the sixth or seventh time, I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, do you even like me? You know what I mean? Now, so that'll supersede the 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But mostly it's yeah, close to like the 3 week period where I'm like, okay, cool. Like we're adults, man. It's like you're in touch with your sexuality, you know who you are. Like, are you doing this whole virgin thing on me? Like, what is that about? Why do I know? Like, no, what do you,
What if that's just how she's moved her whole life?
okay,
Just,
God bless her.
to act.
Hey, God bless her. Enjoy the cats and the Netflix because it ain't gonna be with me.
But so long as you've ever actually waited.
Okay, so let's say in my adult life, so again, the people, or the person, let's narrow it to the one person. The one person was very active, like in terms of flirtatious, sexual, sensual, and did a lot of things and only held off in that, right? And I stuck around for about, we were, before anything, about 2 months, 2.5 months. You know what I mean? It was cool because here's the thing. They did a very good job of not leaving you fucking with blue balls. Let's put it like that. You know what I mean? So the sex part of it, they did everything right to hold you off. Like, all right, cool, don't worry about it. I got you.
Right.
I know I'm not a complete fucking right. I'm not just completely whatever. Yeah, man. Okay. I got a question for you. I think we've talked this in the past, but I have a question. I want to know how women approach this because I had this conversation with a group of guys, and universally we gave the same answer. So I want to see what a woman says. You're out on a Friday night with your man, and you look across the table, and they can't see you, but you can see them. And you look, and you see one of your girlfriends, not a best friend, one of your girlfriends. Man, we could name husband, not husband, whatever. Let's say just long-term relationship, and he's with another woman. What do you do?
So for me, it really depends on the relationship I have with the friend. I'm typically a mind myself, kind of mind my business, kind of a person. Because who knows, and you don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. Because for one, what I'm not going to assume, unless I see them slobbing each other down, or you could just tell the energy is super flirtatious, you don't know what it's for. Two, they could already be having issues, and you know what I mean, she knows what's up, and now I'm just digging in her business and she wasn't ready to talk about it. But if it's a really close, like that sister friend,
Yeah,
I would probably bring it up. Like, you and so, you and Tyrone good, girl.
yeah,
I don't know. I've had friends, or I've heard women talk about like, oh, I'm gonna mind my business because the woman will then get mad at them, like, somehow turn it around on the friend and be mad at her. So I see why you wouldn't want to say anything. I don't think that any of my sister girlfriends would get mad at me for telling them their man's out with another woman, but
okay. So I when I've asked women that question, they kind of gave me that answer. Like, well, it depends, da, da, da. Universally across the board, unless it was a brother or best friend, every guy said, I didn't see shit. I saw his girl with another guy. I didn't see shit. And it's funny, right? Because it was like four of us, and we all shared the experience and told our story on why we came to this conclusion. And it was funny because I approached a friend years ago, and I was like, hey, man, I saw your girl out, blah, 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 doing X, da, 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 da. He immediately caught an attitude with me. Well, yeah, okay, well, because they were on the outs, apparently. Oh, yeah, whatever, da, 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 da. What happens? They make up, they have pillow talk. Now all of a sudden it's nobody wants to see us happy. Nobody wants to see us together. It's us against the world. Da da da. And now I'm a dick, and she doesn't want me around him anymore. Oh, because he's an asshole. He didn't want, and she started down. Da 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 da. Now all of a sudden I lost a very good friend. So after that, I said to myself, you know what, bro? That's not my business. Let me just now, if they say something or they mention something or like I get in a position where they ask me,
right.
then I'm gonna come through and be like, hey, listen, man, are you sure you want? Okay, look, this is what I saw. But if they're not asking, they're not whatever.
I think it depends on, because that's kind of what I was saying as far as the second reason is like, if you bring something to somebody that they're not ready to talk about, it can be awkward, and that might affect how they interact with you. But I think for women, one, we have a lot more intimate conversations with our friends. So, like, if I have a homegirl that has told me about the last 3 guys that cheated on her, or she's giving me intimate details and stuff, and I know that she knows that I know that there's no judgment and all of that, I'm telling that friend. But then you have the other friend where you don't really talk about that kind of stuff, and we might touch on it, and
Yeah,
go
you don't
around.
know how chippy people might get. Like it's
Right,
like they, especially if they already know. That's the worst part about it. Like I found, like
right,
that's the worst experience when they know, because as long as it's their secret, fuck it, they're dealing with it. They once you know, now they're a sucker.
right. That's why
Now
all
they're
these
an
social
idiot. Now
media
they,
or these
yeah,
like
it's like
reality show relationships be ending, because it's
now
like I
I've
would have
heard a lot of
stayed
women.
if I could have cheated and got cheated on in private. But yeah, now
Yeah,
everybody knows.
I've always heard that. I've always heard that. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I've always heard, I've heard women tell, like, not in the conversation, but kind of say something like, it's almost like the guy cheated with respect. Like, in other words, right? You've heard that, right? He cheated on me with respect. In other words, I didn't, he did it,
Had a
and he did it,
feeling, but
yeah, like away from me, outside,
right.
like whatever. And it's not only, it reminds me of The Sopranos. You ever watch The Sopranos?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in The Sopranos, she knew he had like 100 women, but it wasn't until the side chick called the house and told her that now she felt stupid. And now it's like, yo, you were doing it kind of with respect away from me, where I kind of could turn a blind eye and act like I didn't,
Right.
whatever. But now it's in my face and I cannot hide it. So now I'm pissed.
I know a
Now
few
this
women
sucks.
that take that stance, even like in real life, because it's like, listen, I know what it is. I know who I'm dealing with here. I can't expect if I got with the Casanova that everybody wanted, he got with me. It'd be nice to live in my fairy tale and think that he's going to be faithful forever. But, I know what I'm dealing with. So just don't bring it to me for real. Don't bring me no babies, no diseases, no phone calls, no drama, no none of that.
And that's what like Kevin Samuels and all those guys were saying. They were like, you know what you got yourself into. You got a guy with money, he's providing, he's doing all these things. You better, basically play that role. That's the role
But
they
the
wanted
problem is
women to
that
play.
most men don't play their role, and they don't do it respectfully. So like you mad sloppy, so I'm finding everything, or you're not getting your bitches in check. And so now I got people calling me woman to woman. Like, no.
You know how guys get caught? You want to know how guys get caught?
Because they're
Guys
sloppy.
rarely get caught, right? In the act or get caught because somebody ratted, right? They don't get caught because somebody blew up their spot because they both got hot, right? You know when they blow up? They get caught when they break their routine. A
Mhm.
motherfucker will like I don't know. I can't even tell you how many women, right, will be like, I'm like, how'd you find out? Well, this is what happened. You get a guy every day. He comes home,
Mhm.
takes off his shoes at the door, has something to eat, then takes a shower, lays down, whatever. And then he does that for like 3 years straight. And then all of a sudden, one day, he comes in and walks right into the shower. And that little simple act beep, turns a woman's antenna on. And now all of a sudden, she's looking through the phone. Now it's these one little, that's how guys get caught, bro. That's
And she,
simple.
she
That
can't
one,
record her man because the jam, somebody had used her jelly or some shit. And it wasn't
yeah,
like
exactly. That
jelly. We
one.
don't like jelly. So why all of a sudden the jelly's
Yeah,
missing?
yeah. Oh, they left. What is it, that Whitney Houston song where they left you had the credit card receipt? Well, one of you must
Right.
have been a
Exactly. Your phones is real
wait,
cheap, right? It's too
yeah.
cheap to
Well,
get
one of
that.
you must have been real hungry because that bill was, I was dying. That's how men get caught, man. We're ridiculous. We get caught because of
Cause
we
you're
break routines.
sloppy, like I said,
We break
sloppy.
routines. We break routines.
You
It's
can
like
call it what you want to call it, make it sound like y'all are sloppy. That's what happens. You don't
it's that
touch
one time
the
where
rules.
every day you come home and you put your cell phone on the table, and because you just put it on the table face up, she never looks at it.
Right.
And the one day you walk in and you grab that cell phone, instead of putting it on the table, you flip it upside down on the bed. And she's like, what? Like, why is it upside down? Now the intent, she goes, grabs it, goes through it. does the whole
The thing
FBI
is,
thing.
like most women, unless she's super insecure, she's not gonna start snooping like that. But it might raise a little spidey senses. So now I'm watching you extra hard. Like, are you putting your phone face down everywhere in the house? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's that one. It's that it usually is that one. You see, it's that combined with women's intuition. You know what I'm saying? Like that little act combined with, because women start to get that. They have that superpower. I'll always say it. I'm like, women were born with a superpower. It's called women's intuition. Believe that shit. When your gut starts to rumble, 99.9% of the time, our job is to convince you that you're crazy. Our job is to
don't
convince
get
you
in it.
that
You
you're wrong. Our
motherfuckers.
job is to convince you that who you're going to believe, me or your eyes.
Right.
That's our job. But the truth is,
And every
when
time
you
I'll be
get
like,
that,
damn, I do need glasses.
yeah,
I wait to get to
I am a
schedule
little
an
tired.
appointment.
Exactly, that's our job. But the truth is, believe it, believe it, and that's why I say that one little change in routine gives you that little knot in your stomach. If I was a woman, I'm listening to that shit because that little change in routine with that little feeling that you get, you're right. You're right. 99% of the time, you're absolutely right. And there is some where they smoke this fire. You know what I mean? So, who's up? Me or you? You just asked the last question. Yeah, because I asked the first one. You just asked this one about.
I don't know. I have one.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so damn, I should have put them in the order of the best to worst. We've had this conversation before.
Good, we good. Oh, we had a lot of new audience people, so it's all good.
What's up, new people? Well, I mean, yeah, it's a new thing, but I'm going to ask you about it because you've always talked about dating a woman with children,
Right.
and that you basically are insistent upon her having the man on child support, baby daddy on child support. Is that a deal breaker for you?
Okay, so I've said it. I said it in the past, but what I want to clear that up. When I want to clean that up, it's quite possible that a woman doesn't have a man, but everything's it's my way of assuring that there's a knot and everything's tied up nicely, right? That there's no mess left.
Finished.
Right, that there's no mess left and there's no unresolved shit. Like, so I'll give you the example. Okay, so the two separate relationships. In relationship A, he's still calling the house after 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We're together. I'm living with her. I'm staying with her. He's still calling after 9 o'clock to her cell phone, supposedly about the kids. 9, 10 o'clock at night, right? He's still, there's no boundary there. He's still, when he comes to pick them up, you know what I'm saying? He wants to come into the house and kind of chill in their room with them, right? What do you call it? When they whatever, when it comes time to pay the cheerleading, I'm paying out of my pocket, and then he's reimbursing like later on when he has it. On a Friday night when he got paid, she's on the phone. Motherfucker, you better have my money. Da 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 da. I'm out. I'm literally walking out the door. That's not me. Hell no. Right? There's too many untied knots for me to want to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Relationship number 2. He understands that there's boundaries and doesn't call after a certain time because there's nothing that he can't, unless it's an emergency, that he can't talk to her about the kids with at a reasonable hour. Right? And he understands that I'm there. Number 2, he picks his children up with an advanced schedule. Not, oh, I'm going to pick them up on Saturday, but we have plans to go to Great Adventure on Saturday. Oh, so now I got to change everything because he decided now he's free Saturday. And because he's daddy. No, that doesn't work like that. There has to be, in other words, there has to be structure, and she has to have set the boundary for me and done. You know what I mean? I don't want to be arguing with this dude. I don't want to be fighting. I don't want to be crossing the.
What if it's amicable, right? Do those boundaries still?
No, and I'm gonna go there. Now I'm in a situation where he pays everything on time, takes care of his children. We meet, we shake hands. Hey, how you doing? Cool. Da 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 da. They have some time in between their relationship, right? Not 18 months, not just broken up 2 years ago, not whatever. No, there's a good 7, 8 years apart. He's living his life, she's living hers. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Men observe and you watch that there's not a pissing contest going on. You know what I mean? Like I
Can he
find
come
that
in the house and hang out with his kids for a few minutes before he takes them out?
no,
Or you
not in
still
my house.
allowed in the
No,
house?
not in my house. No, no,
Why?
no, no, not in my house. No,
Why?
no, no. Because I'm the big dick in my house. No, there's no coming into my. There's no cross. No, it's just you have your space, your time with your children. I respect it, enjoy it, have fun. Now, if we're having a birthday party, you're welcome. We're having an event, the kids are, you're welcome. You know what I mean? That's cool. But as far as I'm just gonna go hang out and play Xbox in his room with him for a couple hours, no.
Maybe not hang out in the room for a couple of hours, but like, okay, I'm coming to pick them up. Maybe I'll get there 20, 30 minutes early, help
Negative.
them
Take
get
well,
themselves
hey,
together. And
no
if
problem.
no, why is that a no for you? Why does that either intimidate you or what is it that bothers you?
Call it what you want. My space is my space.
Hmm.
My space is my space.
And how is him walking into that change that?
Because he needs to do the right thing and remove his children to his space. Don't come to you don't
What if
come.
it's amicable? I came to pick them up. I just got here a little early. I might chill, help them put on their clothes, whatever, say hey, chat it up with you for a little bit.
Okay, look, there's always a gray area. There's a gray area where like, yeah, he came, like you said, okay, you said the 15, 20 minutes early. He came in, he's hanging out at the kitchen table or hanging out with them, helping them out, doing stuff. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna concede to that, right? What I'm talking about is,
That's where you draw the line right there.
yeah, it's like, yo, buddy, listen, bro, there's a fine line. This is because women, right? Maybe you guys don't see it, right? And here's the funny part: if another woman invaded your space, invaded your area, invaded whatever, you would 100% recognize what she's trying to do right away. You know what I'm saying? Even with a look at your man, even with the way she picks something up in front of him, you'd be able to recognize, like, yo, what's this bitch doing? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I know women have their version of it. Well, we have our version of it, and we have our version of it where we're like, is this a pissing contest? Like, are we? It's unwritten, unspoken. I'm watching you, and I'm like, let me watch how you're moving right now. Okay, what exactly are you? Because we have these weird ways of marking territory. You feel me? And it's like, is he coming in here humbly? It's like dogs in a dog park. The dogs that come in humping and running around and do whatever, they get attacked. They get attacked. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the dogs that come in and they're very friendly and social, and they know the social order. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of very respectful of the other dog's space. You know what I mean? That's what I expect. You be respectful of my space, of my boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you an example. Not being on a schedule, right? It's a power trip for a man. It's a power trip. It's him saying, I can come in and out of your life as I please. He's another one that women don't often recognize. And this will probably throw you up for a curve, but you'll be like, but that doesn't make sense. But I'm telling you, as a man, when your ex tells you the kids can't hang out with your new man unless I meet him.
Oh, please.
Right there and there. Yes, you see, I'm glad you recognize that. Because a lot of women will be like, well, that makes sense. That is a control move.
Yeah, fuck out of here.
That's a pissing contest control move. And as much sense as it makes to eventually do that, initially that's a control move. It's him saying, I don't trust your judgment. I don't think you can protect our kids. I got to step in between here, and you can't do this unless you have my approval. That's what he's telling you. Right. So many women fall into that trap, and they're like, well, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. No, bullshit. You look at him, and you're like, you lost that privilege the day you walked out this house.
Okay.
You have no say. Now, I will introduce you to him on my terms if I choose to. If not, understand. Now, unfortunately, a lot of women do make bad decisions. You know what I mean? So there's always that.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you got to.
I mean, you have a daughter. Is your daughter's mother dating or remarried?
And you said what?
I said, you have a daughter. Is your daughter's mother dating or remarried? And how?
She's remarried. Yeah, she's remarried. She's remarried. And here's the beauty of it, right? I learned a lot of my philosophy from her because she set boundaries right away. She said, I never had to deal with him on that level. She got in between and set the boundary. Hey, Mike, this is what I can do. This is what I can't do. This is the communication, the level of communication that I want to have, that I don't want to have. Da 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 da. And then me being the man I am, I just jumped in. I was like, this is perfect for me. This is perfect. Then we set time frames, boundaries, everything. And I never was, remember, I left. So I was never interested in crossing those lines. That pissing contest was out the window for me because I didn't want to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was very easy. And you know what I'm saying? Like there was never a reason for me. Like I can't think of my daughter's 17. I can't think of a time. Not well, thank God that there's never been an emergency where I had to call her at midnight or text her at 10, 11 o'clock. Hey man, I need to talk to you. About what?
Like, right.
About what? What do you need to talk to me about? About the field trip next week?
Right,
No.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And that kind of shit right there. And you'll find situations. I've been in them. I've been in situations that were not tied up like that. And I remember saying to myself, no, never again. This is bullshit. Like,
but see, you said something that is kind of contradictory. Not contradictory. It's just, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know the word. But you said that you left, so you weren't interested. I don't know the actual statistics, but I know in a lot of cases, it's the man that left and the woman wants him to be there. So, like, why is it that the man that leaves is still having pissing contests?
Control. Just because I left doesn't mean I don't want control over you. Just because I left doesn't mean I don't want control over you. Doesn't mean that I don't. Because remember, I left, but you were still madly in love with me. You were still head over heels for me. You still wanted me. So even though I don't want to be in that relationship and I don't want to be in that situation, I still want to feel that I'm the only one that can make you jump. You understand what I'm saying? And when I come around and now there's a new guy making you jump, I don't like that shit. And you know what? I'm gonna prove to you that, oh, you think you're the new guy? No. I can show you that I can still make a jump. And we get into these pissing contests. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? And guys will deny it but it's so funny because when you get in a circle of men, you start to talk. For man to man, we admit it. You're like, yeah, man. You know, I want to be able to like I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and he said the same thing about he wants to be able to pick his son up whenever. I'm like, dude, really? So you're telling me they planned a family dinner to celebrate something, da 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 da, and you're willing to come in and grab the one child and bounce with them? Like that's what you're really willing to do? Yeah, because that's my son. Though. I'm like, I know what you're doing, bro. You're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling anybody. Because if you were really about that, you would have been like, hey, man, a week in advance, or even a couple of days in advance. On the 16th, is he free? What's the deal? Da, da, da. Oh, we have this. Is okay, cool. And you know what I mean? Like you play your role. Like, and he was just being slick. He was just
ego. Yeah, y'all and your egos.
Okay, I got a question. This is a little lighter. On a little lighter note. Maybe I don't know if you even do this, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. What's with the fucking eyelashes?
They look beautiful.
No guy in the history of fucking the world has gone up and said, "Damn, I want to hit that shit. That girl got some eyelashes on her."
So first of all, men are oblivious to makeup in general. Like y'all don't see the difference of anything. Like I know I've done like one eyebrow and I can see one eyebrow is popping, the other one is dead, and you show your boyfriend and they're like, I don't see the difference. So that's why y'all are oblivious to makeup in general and the benefit, the enhancement that we
That's hilarious.
These little lamb chop eyelashes, I don't know what that's about. It's an era, they think it's hot, so it's hot. Them things are heavy. I mean, just regular, the little thin eyelashes are heavy, so I can't even imagine. But it's an enhancement. Your face looks different with makeup, whether it be eyelashes, eyebrows, lipstick. And, since the beginning of time, women have adorned ourselves so that we can peacock for men.
Because I'm like, I get it when women say, okay, so here's the follow-up question. Here's a follow-up question. Why is it, and I've asked you this before, I think, why is it that I go out with a woman and she dresses, looking nice, but then she goes out with her friends and she's like, blah down, with the bling bling looking gorgeous.
if she's your girl, she shouldn't be doing too much. But typically, it's again the same thing. I'm going out with a bunch of women and probably single. I'm gonna dress accordingly so I can snatch me something up. Get me a
No, no,
nice
no. She's not single. They weren't single. They were going out with their girls,
just with their
and it was
friends.
like,
And that time, it's like you kind of gotta fit in, right? Like, so if I'm going out with the girls, there's probably a couple of single people in that group. Everybody's dressed up. I don't want to look like the old maid. So when I go out with my man, I have to be classy and stuff.
yeah, because I've been in relationships where that shit happens. I'm like, yo, I see them go out, and I'm like, yo, red bottom, look at the heels and the jeans and the butt. Oh god damn, look at that shit. And then we go out. She got on sneakers. A white. I'm like, what are
Where are
you?
you
What?
taking her? Where are you
I'm like,
taking
where?
her?
Are you? I mean, I think we might have been going to see The Color Purple, like in New York or something. Like I always did nice shit. Like I always do nice shit. Anybody
Dressing up, yeah.
anybody's ever been with me knows I always like to do nice shit. So like I'm taking you out, and yet for some reason it's like, yeah, it's so weird as shit. I'm like, and I would complain in the beginning, and I'd be like, yo, what, where are you going like that? Oh, and then the way it was explained to me was that you're comparing yourself. You. There's nothing doper than when another woman looks at you and goes, "Damn, girl, you killing it. You look nice." You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I guess, but it always baffled me.
Well, for me, I can say for myself, one, I probably wouldn't do that anyway. Like I'm just gonna dress how I dress, But
Yeah.
if I do a little bit more with my girls, it's because everybody's popping and I don't want to be the not popping one in the group. Just know we're gonna do
Got you,
it.
got
I'm
you.
not gonna
Okay,
be the one sitting at the table holding everybody's purse. Like no.
that's hilarious. All right, you're up. Your question.
Da-da-da-da-da. How chivalrous are you? What if you went out with a woman and she insisted on paying for the first date? Would you let her?
No, and
Why?
anybody who's ever been with me can tell you no.
But
Yeah,
why?
absolutely no. And no, I don't subscribe to that. I 100%. First of all, you can just ask my friends. Period. That when I go out, I I tend not to go out if I can't pay. I enjoy, like, that's part of my, that's one of the things I get enjoyment out of. Like, I got you. I got you. I nothing. I don't mind spending an extra dollar for a good time. Like my friends having, like, for the moment, for the good time. I don't mind that. So like I'm always the one. So when I'm out on a date, now if she plans ahead and tells me, hey, listen, I want to take you out, or I've gone 5, 6, 7 in a row, and she just sneaks a card. I got it. I got it. That's okay. That's cute. You got it. That's cute. You know what I mean? And even then, I'm so accustomed to it. I'll probably end up trying to sign.
Cute.
You know what I'm saying? I end up trying to sign because I'm so used to it. I don't.
But why? What is it that I don't know that stops you?
I am a feminist with chauvinist tendencies, and in that particular instance, I'm a bit chauvinist. I'm the man I pay. That's it. That's all it is for me. I'm the man I pay.
And
You
now,
know what I
can you
mean?
keep that energy throughout the relationship?
If the times in my life that I could, yes.
Right.
In the times of my life that I could, like, if I just can't, then the answer is no. Like, what am I supposed to do? Go prostitute myself? You know what I'm saying? Like, go give that ass up? No, for the most part, I've always been the type. I'll say this a million times, man. When I'm in love, I don't ask anybody what they bring to the table. She becomes my table. She becomes it. She's the reason for me to be better, be more active, try harder, everything. And my goal is to release her burden. You know what I'm saying? And have her at ease. And it's trickle down economics to me, man. I concentrate on her and making her feel great. And then in turn, she is able to be the best version of her. And I benefit from that. And that's just how now, especially now in my older life, I'm like that. When I was younger, I didn't have it. It was harder. It was more difficult to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, so you were with a woman that was actually making more money than you, and you're the same age or shit like that. That happened. You know what I mean? But I always, when you use the word chivalry, like anybody, like I said, anybody who's ever been with me will always tell you, Mike is a tough act to follow. I'm a tough act to follow because of the mixture of traditional, very um, chivalrous, like in terms of gifts, in terms of how well thought out they are, in terms of, I still do the shit where if I'm sitting in a restaurant, I sit facing the door. I can't have you facing the door. You know what I mean? Like I need my back, your back to the door. I have to be able to see what's behind you. I still do the you walk on the inside. You know what I mean? I don't know where a lot of it where it comes from that much anymore, but I still do a lot of that stuff. I still open doors. Like, hey, I'm 100% like that. Anybody who's ever been with me, dealt with me, hung out with me, will tell you, Mike is that's how Mike is. You know what I mean? And I do know what it's a lost start. It is a lost start, but you also find here's what I found. How many times have I done it? And I've done it to women that didn't know how to accept that. They were so used to working so hard, doing everything themselves, not waiting, pushing, moving, doing all these things. Where like you go to open a door and she speeds up. Like, what are you doing? Like, yo, wait, like, let me open the door for you.
I
You know
was
what I'm
already
saying?
here. I was here first. I
Yeah,
got
like, oh my God. Like, you're like, yo, let me open the door. Like they act like you're in the way. You're like, wait, what are you? Or you go out, let me drive. No, I want to drive. You're like, wait, I'll drive. Like, let me drive, relax. You know what I mean? It's so weird, yo. Like I always talk about women that have never been kissed. You know what I mean? I refer to it's the term is I reserve it for women that have been in relationships or been neglected for a very long time. And then you meet them and you're basically their ex or their ex-husband's stunt double. You're willing to do everything they never did. You know what I'm saying? And the funny part is it's like, and I'm not calling women dogs, but it's like when you bring a puppy to your house, like a rescue to your house, right? And they're like, are you gonna I don't trust you. Should I? Can I? Are you gonna? And then
right.
one day they kind of come up to you and they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna let you love me." That's almost like how you feel. You're like, these women have been through so many ups and downs with abusers, narcissists, assholes, jerks, fucking cheaters, whatever. And when you come in with genuine intention and you really try to give them that soft, it's almost like you have to approach them gently, a little inch at a time. Like, okay, I'm willing to do. Why are you doing that for me?
Because it'd be like, yeah, like what you want?
Yeah, what's the hidden agenda? Like,
Right.
why are you doing that? Oh, the best is um gas money, or let's say they take the bus home, and you're like, yo, I'll give you money for an Uber. They're like, no, no, no. You're like, dude, I wouldn't offer it if I wasn't able, if I didn't account it to my budget. It's okay. You know what I mean? But they're so used to like either people having hidden agendas or people gonna hold it over their head the next time.
Mhm.
Oh, because you remember I did that for you. Da, da, da. And I think that right there is like the worst thing you could do for a woman, man. Like, oh, there's nothing pisses like seems to piss a woman off like a man who holds something over her head. Like, oh, I did this for you. You know what I mean? You're like, ugh.
Yeah, because like that's what you're supposed to do, sir. What the
Yeah,
hell?
there's so much to overcome, yo. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, you take baby step, and I come across it a lot. I'm like, and I call it never been kissed syndrome. It's like, let me take your time. Take your time. There's nothing crazier than making love to a woman, right? And you have to stop and look at her like, who's touched you? Like, how the fuck have you? How do you have children? How do you have like, yo? It's like nobody ever kissed them while
Mm.
they're having sex. Everything seems so rushed. They're looking at you like, are you gonna finish? You're like,
Take your time, baby.
there's nowhere to go here. Relax. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's embedded in them because before you, everything was about the guy. Everything was about on their terms. They didn't have a say. They didn't have whatever. And then, like I said, when you kiss them, they kiss you like they're 12, 13 years old. And you're like, no, slow down. Let me, you know what I mean? And I'm learning to have patience. You know what I'm saying? Before I'd be like, what the fuck is this? This is just whack shit. But now I'm learning to have patience and being able to be like, okay, I almost feel bad. I'm like,
You'll come around.
yeah, I'm like, yo. And then when they do come around, ooh, boy,
You stuck.
woo, boy, you're like, can I get a round of applause? All right, I got, what was the other question?
TMI, TMI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have, there was another question. Oh no, I just asked the last question about whatever you just asked that one. Do you have any more?
Have you ever been with a woman who had too high of a sex drive, and
Yes.
how high is too high?
Yes. Yes. But here's the kicker. It's not that her sex drive was too high. Is that her sex drive is too high and she was kind of out of control. So it wasn't like if her sex drive is high and she's sensual, sexual, you know what I mean?
Saving it all for you, or she
Right.
wasn't saving it all for
What?
you? What you mean out of control? She was
No, she just was like just she was in such a rush. Like it was
just like
yeah, it was like it's just such a rush that you're like, what are you doing? Like it again, it was one of those situations where she hadn't had it in a long time, was in a relationship, whatever. And when we get together, all of a sudden, it's she's ready to go every bunch of times a night, during the day, whenever. But she hasn't. It was so rushed for her before that she has the same sex drive with the habits that she had with the other guy, where he didn't take her he took her for granted, and she's in a and you're like, whoa. That if she would have slowed down, that she ended up slowing down. That when she slowed down, she realized that the amount of sex that she needed
was less
was a lot less because it was so much more fulfilling.
Right.
Yeah, it was so much more fulfilling that now she said, "Oh, okay, cool. Like I don't need to jump on it 10 to 15 times, all this shit. Relax." Because now the couple of times that we did do it were so fulfilling that she was like, I get it now what you're saying.
Is that now like a couple times a day or
No, this woman was like, we're talking, I was in my 30s too, so it wasn't even like I was tired or anything. I was ready to go. And she just again, it was a combination of things. It was how many times she wanted it with how aggressive she was about it. You know what I'm saying? When I was like, and like I said, once I slowed her down, everything slowed down for her too. And the sex drive was still very high, but now much more fulfilling for her. And now she realized like the reason she needed it so much so fast is because the guy that she was with was lasting a minute or two anyway. So she figured she'd jump on. And with me, I was like, just chill.
Slow down.
Take our time. Yeah, let's take our time. We can do this. Slow down.
There's no such thing as too high as long as you're just not crazy with it.
No. There is a such thing as too high. There is a such thing as too high. I'm 45 now, bro. All right. So yes, there's a such thing as too high. I'm not sitting here and talking shit like, oh yeah, man, I could go. I'm 45 years old, and I'm not fucking no 22-year-old girl, 23-year-old girl. I don't have the energy for that shit. I don't have the energy to after sex, her hopping up. Like, where are we going? What are we doing? I like the 40. I like the 40-year-old woman. I like the 40-year-old woman that's lying right next to me. Like, yeah, I don't want to do. I don't want to do anything either. I'm good.
Water when you go to the kitchen.
I like the one that who's gonna go get the water when we're laying down. Like we're not, there's no getting up, popping up, going to get dressed, going out. It's like we kind of like, yeah, we're good. Slow it down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
So it's an age thing, though. It depends.
Oh, I'm very old. She's like, oh, you old?
You are in your journey.
I'm very old nowadays. Shit. Yeah, I need her to be like, cut the ceiling fan on. It's hot. And yeah, okay, I got you, baby. Let's go. What are we snacking on? Type shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no. Don't give me that bullshit. And everybody talking about, yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. Hey, listen, more power to you, man. Especially women that can go hours and hours and hours and all that shit. More power to you, man. God bless you. I didn't develop that mental orgasm shit out of nowhere. I'm trying to touch you here and blast you here so that work is minimal. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to touch your brain. I'm trying to touch you in places my hands can't reach and get you so emotionally and mentally involved with me that the amount of physical work I have to do is minimal. It's selfish, but it's real. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like I'm trying to get you to the point where all that, like I always talk about that mental closet of all the things that you got going on that I'm worried about. Let me help you clear that closet so that when you're with me, all you're thinking about is pleasure. So I don't have to do, like I said, when I was younger, I had to go from the body to the mind. You know, I had to work the body so that she could clear her mind, so she can get to a space where she can orgasm. How about I clear her mind, right, so that she's ready to go, and everything else is minimal. You know what I'm saying? It just seems right, right? Am I off on that shit?
No.
I can't dunk no more, man. I used to be able to dunk. Now I got to play the IQ game. I got to play. I got to make the right pass. I got to make that extra dribble. I'm not like Kobe. I can't dunk no more. You know what I mean? So that's
The
just all
reality
it
of
is.
it is, though, women of every age is the same thing, especially like once you become an adult, whether I'm 22 or 52, if I am an adult in the world and I have adult responsibilities, you know, that same thing is still going to apply and you're going to still get the same result. Just
No, it's true.
FYI to all the young brothers out there, because
It's
banging women
100%.
back out is
100%.
cool, but yeah.
That's 100% a cheat code. 100% a cheat code, man. You know, it's funny though because the young guys have so much energy that they don't have to like that they. You know what I'm saying? Like you think about a 25, 26, 27-year-old Mike, 30-year-old, excuse me, your Mike. He, man, listen, anywhere, anytime, whatever.
That's why I be all that drama in between, because it's like you did she's quiet for a little while because she's satiated and she's happy, but then she snaps back to reality and realizes like, hold up, he ain't
But you ain't
shit.
giving me, yeah, exactly. You know, I just realized one day, man, I was like, a woman's orgasm after a certain amount of time together and just a certain age just is not between her legs, it's in between her ears. You know what I mean? And you get her to the point where you're like, I see what you see. What worries you worries me. Here are the solutions that I'm thinking about before you have to work. Here are the things that keep you up at night. Guess what? I'm thinking of solutions for those things.
Mhm.
Safety and the security that you need. You know what? I'm willing to invest in you and put that back into you and let you know that the things that make you feel safe and secure, I'm working to provide those things for you. You know what I mean? And how many times have I given this example? How many times have I given this example? If I walk outside and my car doesn't start, right? And I walk back inside and you say, "Hey Mike, you want sex?" I'm be like, "Yeah, okay, I'm down." But if you walk outside and
Right.
your
Like,
car don't start, and when you walk inside and I go, "Hey baby, you want sex?" You'll be like, "Are you out of your freaking mind right now? My car doesn't start." So unless I provide you the security to know that I'm working on it and give you the solution to how we're going to get this done, then and only then will you be like, "All right, cool, I consider it." But before that, no. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it all goes back to the mental part of it. What if I'm able to? I know that you're worried about your car, so I'm able to swoop in, talk to some friends, get this fixed, get a deal on this, get this done, and I come to you. I'm like, "Hey, babe, check this out. On Tuesday, I'm taking your car down here. They're gonna fix it. They're gonna take care of this. Da da da. You'll have your car by Wednesday, and I got a rental for you. Now I sleep with you.
right.
Now that little problem you had, guess what you can do? You could just concentrate on being happy with Mike. You don't have to
But
worry
it's
about
beyond that now because I'm extra happy with Mike because Mike has solved my problem.
that. Exactly. And when they say sex is better when the bills are paid, you know what I'm saying?
Listen here.
Sex is better when the bills are paid, you know? And it's not tricking. I just have to talk to these young guys, man, because everybody is it's this and I know I was like this, so I can't knock anybody, but it's crazy how society and how porn and how the way sex is taught to us has pointed into this selfish corner. Men are painted into this. They're very selfish when it comes to sex. You know what I mean? And what you have to explain to these guys is that um, invest in her, and the return is always so much greater. Invest in her, and the now don't invest in just anybody because you're gonna get burned. There's some women that ain't worth it.
That's
You know what I'm
true.
saying? What do you call it? We got some comments here. Let's go through some comments. I'm gonna start with this one because I thought this shit was hilarious. Damn, you old. Yeah, I am. Leave me alone. But then again, I got this one. You see, you still young. I know I'm still young.
Perspective,
Uh,
perspective.
there it is. There you go. What does it say? Okay, I guess I've always been the one finding the solutions for everything in my life. That I don't know how it would feel to have a man care for me. It, you're not alone. You're not alone. That's 90% of the women you come across when you're one of the good ones. You know what I'm saying? That's where you see. This is where the whole conversation we had in the beginning about you make me wait. You make me wait. But that other guy that
Oh,
you know made
God,
you go
right,
through
right,
the
right.
hoops and you did all that shit, he got all that, and I gotta wait. Why? Because you're not used to it. You don't trust. Are you sure? Da da da. And this is a perfect example. Like a lot of times, women have been beat up, dragged down, just to the mud, man. Where they're just like, I might as well just do this shit myself. You know what I mean? They're in a house where the light is gonna get cut, and they're looking at their partner like, "Hey, man, rent's due, car house gonna get," and the guy's looking at them like, "Well, what are you gonna do about it?" You know what I'm saying? I no, like, yo, and don't get me wrong, man. There's maturity involved in that, but as a man, it's like, shit, dude. No, you gotta flip that switch and take care of that. You can't. I'm with you. I'm not doing stunts on my age. Give me that mental orgasm all day. Hell yeah, I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, there's
Those
nothing like just
butterflies and the warm fuzzies, they feel
yeah,
just as nice.
you know
Like,
what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Tricks. Nah, I'm good. We're good. We're good. No, and I'm not, and I don't want people to mistake it being bad. No, it's still great. It's just different. It evolves. It's a different type of great. You know what I'm saying? Shit. It's like I said, it's like a basketball player. When he's young, he's up and down that court dunking and all kinds of shit. And when you get older, you have to adapt your game. Now you can't, that dunk doesn't come as easily. So now you got to know when to make the right pass. Your basketball IQ has to go up. It's the
right.
same shit. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. I do have a commercial for us, man, because I do have a sponsor now. It's
Okay.
Green Meats International. It's a candle company that I think people would really, really benefit from and appreciate. So I just want to do their little ad read for them
Yes.
because I
Okay.
think they're
Candle.
fantastic. In this life, some people are in a rush to reach their destination. Others prefer to enjoy the ride. Some drink to get drunk, and some savor the taste of fine wine or a good meal. If you're in the latter, sit back and delight in the unique journey with Queen Meats International. Her sense and unique infusion methods are designed to take the proverbial edge out of life. Queen Meats' number one goal is to guide you down a more sophisticated and gentle experience, perfect for meditation, yoga, or turning down from the stress of daily life. Backed by hours of research, our candles are made from a unique blend of imported oils and a wick that burns slower and cleaner to get your most out of your investment. If you are someone enjoys the finer things in life, we would love to be your introduction to the high life. You can contact us at Instagram at Queen Meats International. You can also email at at thequeenmeats@gmail.com or queenmeats.com. There you go. Thank you for that one. Check
That's
them
Queen
out,
Meats.
queenmeats.com. Queenmeats.com candles. They're uh, infused with, I believe it's hemp. And yeah, I have them all over. They're like, I like them, and they forget it. Nothing gets me nice and mellow when I'm writing or when I'm ready to chill. Like, trust me,
Oh,
they're
yeah, that's
highly,
nice. Like
highly
a
enjoyed.
vibe.
Yes. Oh, I always tell people like, if you used to grab a glass of wine like you're doing now, you could substitute it with a candle, and now you're just chill.
Or just add to it. Now I have
Or just
both.
add to, or just add to it. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So I want to close the show with a question from my inbox. Okay. See what Ms.Ily has to say about this. Question from the Dropping Dimes inbox. Why do men have issues with strong, ambitious, intelligent women? I have a master's degree, a great job, and handle my business. Men run when they can't hang. Hashtag single forever. Hmm. You want me to answer this? Because I'm like,
I mean, the answer is going to be so Kevin Samuels. I think no matter who answers it, like, it just is what it
I'm
is.
gonna say this. I'm gonna add to this and humble. How about this? How about right off the rip, like you rubbed me the wrong way
Mm.
because you're not humble at all. I'm this, I'm that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody
And that's what
cares.
I think. I think that's one of the things that women. It's so funny because women are hypocritical as fuck. I realize that in dating, that there's things that we want or things that we don't want, but we will be that or not be that. And like, duh. Because for me, I cannot stand a braggadocious man. Like, I don't care how many accolades you have, how much money you have. I don't want to hear that shit. I want to benefit from it at some point, yes, but I don't want to hear about it. Like, because it gives off, like you said, it gives this air that you are somehow holier than thou or better than me, or I need to bow down. And I can see how it will be received the same way from a man. You know, if I'm just coming through the gate like, well, I got this and I do that, and if it's not about us and me, you know, as a person,
I'm gonna break it down to you like this, right? When I read this is dropping down. Mike reads this. Let's see what I can use out of this. I'm ambitious. Okay, I could use that. Ambitious, I like that. I like a woman that's ambitious. Intelligent woman, cool. Okay. I have a master's degree. Do I benefit from that? No. So I don't know why I need to know that right away. A great job. Okay, cool. Here's the problem. I don't look at you, right? Your resume is always like, people don't understand this, right? And they'll be like, no, men want a woman. Da, da, da. They do. But let's be clear. It's not the first or second or third thing they look at. It's just not. It's the first thing you look at is physical attraction. You're like, yo, do I like this chick or not? She cute? She worth talking to. That's how we do it. I don't care what any guy says. He establishes that first. If you are, okay, we move on part two. Is she cool? Is she cool? Meaning, is she sweet? Does she have a good vibe to her? Number two, right there, right? Number three, I would say there's a number three in there, but I can't really put my finger on it. And then, see, I always tell that men don't give a shit about your resume until we're invested in you. Once I'm invested in you and you're my girl, now all this matters. Because now I add it to everything that I already like. Oh, yeah, like, you know, is she a good person on the inside? Like, is she a good person? Once you establish those three things, then it's like, I like her. I want to be her man. Now on top of that, my girl is smart, intelligent, and makes money. The smart intelligence is important, but the makes money part, that comes next. You know what I'm saying? Once that comes in, you're like, okay, you know. So I'll never understand. But they say that women introduce themselves a lot of times based on what they want to hear from a man. So this woman, what she wants to meet is a guy that is smart, intelligent, has a master's degree, has this, that, his business together, da da da. And she would love a man that when he met her, introduced himself like that.
you know what some of it is? I don't think that's even so much the thought process behind it. I think too, as a woman, part of it in this culture that we live, you know, you got the Cardi B's, there's drugging niggas and taking advantage, and everybody, you know, don't give a fuck and wants the bag. It's like, hey guy, here's me. Like, I'm a hardworking woman. I'm not here trying to take advantage of you. You know, I think that's kind of where the woman is coming from, but it just doesn't seem to be received well. Like, I don't know why y'all are
because it's an energy. You see, again, energy is everything. Your energy speaks for you before that resume ever will. I meet you, right? If I grab three separate women and I met them and I had no background on them, didn't know what they were, who they were. It's how they made me feel. That's the most important thing. Their looks and how they made me feel. I know it's a little shallow.
But this is the thing. Like, we go out to dinner. I don't get to make you feel away. You know, I meet you on Match.com.
No, you do. You do. No, you
messages,
do.
we talk. Now we're at dinner. Now we're having the conversation. And I'm telling you about me. Why is me telling you the fact that I went to college to get a master's degree now all of a sudden a turn off?
Wait, because there's two different. I'm gonna interrupt you to answer that question. And I've been in social settings with you, right? And you're funny as shit, and you're cool, and you say witty shit, and you're funny, and you're chill to hang out with. You know what I'm saying, right? And that right there is your energy, as opposed to. Well, I went to college, and I'm in my business now, and da-da-da. Get the stick out of your ass. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by energy. You projected this cool vibe, chill. I'm like this relaxed energy. You know what I'm saying? I want to know that I could take the mask off in front of you. I want to know that when I'm vulnerable with you, you're not judging me. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be tough with me when you need to be tough. You're gonna be soft and gentle when you need to be gentle. You're gonna be able to be that person. You're gonna be my escape. Are you my peace? That whole peace conversation. You're gonna get that from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm looking for. I'm evaluating that side of it. And then once I have that established, that you can be all that for me, right? And that you can be that person, then and only then does your resume matter. Now it's a plus that it's like you go to buy a car, right? I'm looking at the engine and the transmission. I'm looking at the gas mileage. I'm looking at all these important things first. And then it's comfort. It drives great. Perfect. Cool. It looks nice. You know what I'm saying? That's how and then you start to look at the specs. Like, and it's a benefit. Oh, and it has this extra compartment.
Cup
Oh,
holders.
and the seats fold this way. Oh shit. And you can get it with this train. Then you start to add, you know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. Like that's why that chick at Walmart with the fat ass at the register, she ain't never single. She ain't never single, bro. She always has somebody chasing her. Why? Because she nobody cares about your resume. I always joke around and say, I don't care if you can read until I start to like you. And then when I start to like you, then I figure out, oh, she can't read. Oh shit. All right. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's just what it is. It's different for men than it is for women. And maybe women don't like that, but I know a woman. I don't think it's fair that a woman looks at a man and says you have to be A, B, C, D, and this type of man. Either. But life isn't fair, you know. What are you gonna do? I got
I
one.
guess.
I think I have one more. Let me see. Uh, all right. Let me check. Let me hear this one from you, dear Mister Dimes. You stupid, dear Mister Dime Dropper. I'm not sure when it happened, but my husband of 9 years and I have drifted apart. We don't talk anymore. We both work a lot. When we're together, he's in the living room and I'm in the bedroom. We hardly make love anymore, like one time a week. Trust me, there's couples that are married 9 years that are dying for one time a week.
Right.
Every time I ask if something's wrong, he says no, he's fine. This I'm fine bull is working my nerves. What can I do to spice things up?
Be the change you want to see. That's like a motto that I live by in everything. And I think even in a relationship, a lot of times we get to a space, especially as women, we're looking for our partner to fix things, especially if you have a good man. He's probably a fixer. And so it's like, babe, I'm going to tell you my problem and now I'm going to wait for you to fix it. But I think being proactive, being intentional, can help. What is it that you want? Did you want to go out more? Then plan a date. I think women, we do get caught up sometimes in the fairy tale of it all. And 9 years in, it's hard to play fairy tale, right? Because like life is really real. So you're living day to day, you're doing what you do, whatever it is that you're looking for. I don't know exact. She's not really being super specific. Because once a week, you probably could add a few more times in there. Like initiate it. Is it because you're initiating and he's rejecting you, or is nobody initiating it more than once a week? Do you want to go out on a date? Then say, babe, let's go out on a date on Friday to this place. Anita Baker's in town. We can go down to
Anita
Miami.
Baker,
You know what I'm
if you
saying?
only knew.
So it's
Um,
just, I think women, it's important. We have to like take a role. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. Um, I forgot how the conversation came up, but it was about buying men gifts and like how many men have told us that they've never received a gift in their whole life, like from somebody that they're dating, like not flowers, not a present, not nothing. And so I think women, we too often take a back seat. And sometimes the relationship dynamic changes and you gotta get in there, get aggressive, and make it happen.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with everything you said. I think also part of it is this is the perfect example of what happens when obviously there's a communication breakdown in the
Mhm.
relationship. But here's where the communication is broken down. She remembers that he's a husband. She remembers that he's maybe a father. He remembers she's a wife. He remembers maybe she's a mother. The two most important things that have been forgotten is that he's forgotten that she's a woman first, and she's forgotten that he's a man first. And those two people start communicating. See what happens over time, especially a 9 year relationship. Everything becomes: did we pick up? Did we do? Did we make? Did we
Right,
share? Did we never? If you're lucky, at the end of the night, maybe get 30 minutes of pillow talk before you doze off, right? So 30 minutes of pillow talk, what happens is, I always say for a woman, communication equals love. She communicates with the man that she loves. She needs that active communication, that active back and forward. She needs that to feel love. So if she's only getting 30 minutes of that, she's not fulfilled. If she's not fulfilled, it's pretty clear that that's bleeding over, and she doesn't feel the intimacy. Maybe that's why the sex has dwindled, right? And he's not pursuing it because of that chemistry that he feels that it's not there. The disconnect. The disconnect is coming from the lack of communication, and it's a circle. Lack of communication equals disconnect. Disconnect equals lack of sex. Lack of sex on his part equals disconnect further, and then the communication just gets worse and worse and worse. And this is a perfect example of I don't know how they're going to do it, so I can't even go about giving that kind of advice. But this is the perfect combination of usually a vacation, a nice vacation. A lot of people do it that way, where they reconnect as a couple. You know what I mean? They need a reconnection where, oh, like my older sister used to tell me about that. She used to love her husband. She had a nickname for him when he was on vacation because I like vacation
A
guy. You
whole
know what?
different person,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
but think about it. You leave all your problems
I was
behind.
gonna say you can leave
You're
all your
free.
worries at your
Yeah,
feet.
you're not worried about the boss and so you're free. And what happens when you're free? The man in me gets to talk to the woman in you. The woman in you gets to speak to the man in me. And we look at each other and we're like, yo, I like you. I like you too. See, that's why you have couples, man, that they're married 30 years. The kids are out of the house. And one day they look at each other, we're breaking up. Why? The
Mhm.
kids are gone. They're grown. We're done. Why? Because all those years they had indirect communication. Again, did we pick up? Did we take? Did we pay? Did we da? And they never connected. So now that the kids are gone, they're forced to look at each other. And he's like, I don't like her. And she's like, I don't like him. All right, let's go our separate ways. As opposed to if you work on the relationship throughout and you continually put him and her, the humans, the man and the woman, first and keep that communication alive. I always talk about my neighbor. I wrote about it in the book when I talk about how they went to they've been married 30 something years and I asked him, why what's the secret? He gave me the usual and then finally he says, yeah, and she makes me laugh. She's always been the funniest person in the room. Before I made my money, we used to go to New York and people watch and drink and have fun and she was just always the funniest. So later on what we would do is um, me and her, we would take the Winnebago up to Montreal and we would watch the Montreal Comedy Festival. Just me and her, nobody else. No kids, no grandkids.
Right.
And what he was saying was we found something that we had in common. We built a life around it, and we reconnected on that level. Some people use volunteering. Some people use the church. Some people use a business that they have together. Some people use. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but the key is to connect on that man
That's what I was
woman
gonna
love.
say. Like, take a step, whatever that step is, because maybe you don't know
Yeah,
what that thing is just yet. But just do one thing, try
and if
something else, and
yeah, and it's not. It doesn't have to be a huge gesture. A lot of times for guys, we get caught up on. I actually put something out on my Dropping Dimes page called "The Art of Gift Giving," because you'll be surprised how flustered some men get when it's time to buy a gift, and how just unoriginal, how whatever. And again, you can go back in my history. I got a history of being able to give fantastic gifts. You know what I mean? Why? Because the way I think outside the box. You know what I mean? And in these situations, you got to let them know. But like, it doesn't have to be a grand gesture. You know what I mean? It could be something as simple as at the end of the night, I put the kids down. I set up some wine glasses on the patio, and me and you sit there and just kind of, yo, let's talk it out for a little bit. Let's just, what's up with you? You know what I mean? Like, when's the last time? I heard, this is a movie called The Shawshank Redemption, where they're like, when's the last time you looked at a man's shoes? Like when you know what I'm saying? Because he was breaking out of jail. They're like, when's the last time? And he had changed his shoes, like the guard shoes, and nobody
mhm.
noticed. And I always say the same thing I'm like, when's the last time two people sat down that were in love, right, with kids, with all this shit going around, looked at each other and said, "How are you?"
Right.
Not how the kids, not how whatever. How are you? And it's so funny because you ask that question and you'll be surprised. Like when I've done some of the couples work, um, the guy will be like, "She didn't know how to answer that question. She didn't know how to answer that question." Like I asked her, "How are you?" And she was like, "Are you gonna tell me about the kids?" And I said, "No, how are you?" She was gonna tell me about, and I was like, "No, how are you?" And it got to the point where the girl got flustered and she was like, "Yeah, how am I?" Like she didn't even know how to answer that shit. And I'm like, and the same thing with him. When she asked him, he was like, and I go, "Well, if you don't know who you are, how do you expect her to remember?" You know what I mean? So you gotta have that open flow of communication and reconnect on that level first. And once you do that, you'll see everything else kind of. Now I don't know the depths of their problems. You know what I mean? It could be a lot worse. You know, there could be history there, whatever. But based on what she wrote, I think there's a
At the end
connection
of
to
the day, whatever she wrote, she wants to see it change. And that goes
yeah,
back to my
exactly. And that's
original statement is to be the change you want to see. And if there's something that you're looking for, initiate it. You know, it would be wonderful for your man to just come to you one day, like, darling, I see we're disconnected and everything gets fixed, but that's not going to happen because it's just not how men do. Yeah, just take the first step, take a step, because what I've learned in all relationships, whether it's romantic, professional, is that when there's a disconnect, you can either continue to operate in that space and we're just going to stay disconnected, but we still have to, for whatever reason, work together. Or you can try to bridge that gap and you can,
yes.
humble yourself. You can be the bigger person, all these things that you say to yourself to kind of just amp you up to make the move to just take one step in the right direction. And then, like you said, the same way the negative habits and negative things about life can create a cyclical effect, so can the positive things, right? So like
Absolutely.
that's
Exactly.
something
Exactly.
positive,
Yes.
he receives that energy. Now he's like, okay, you know what? Next time he's gonna hopefully get out of his shell and think of something, and we have a nice little cycle of positivity and sex and all those wonderful things.
Yeah, I mean, it's and that's the other thing. The other thing is choose not to give up because it may not be as simple, you know what I mean? May not be an easy process because
Mhm.
sometimes the wounds run so deep and or the resentment runs so deep that you got to get past that first to be even able to make that connection again. You know what I mean? So like it's like it just requires what is it? Chris Rock said it the best. He's like, two people can move a couch real easy. You got to do that shit by yourself. You know what I
Right.
mean? I always say it. You know, relationships are work; they're not labor. You know what I mean? So you got to make
Mhm.
it work. Work
I
is
like that.
together, both of us. Labor is by myself. And
Right.
that'll never work. You know what I mean? But that'll bring us to the end of the show. Ms.Ily,
That's a
as
good
always,
one.
you are the bomb. Thank you very much for coming through. And of course, I'm going to bring you back now. You know that. Um, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N podcast. And I'm your host, Mr. Underscore Dropping Dimes, aka the Hopeful Romantic, aka the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. I want to thank our special guest, always with the insight, and really appreciate her coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, they say the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. Once again, this has been the Hopeful Romantic MAN podcast, and I want to thank you for walking in my why. Thank you, Grace.